Ranger Report 002, Mutant Intelligence. An individual by the name of Bucky Butane gave me intel on a mutant nest he claimed to house a highly talented mutant. On investigation, I discovered it was more than just one talented mutant. Much, much more. Mutants in the wasteland 30 years ago were not like the mutants I've discovered here. Back then, they were nothing but snarlers and tossers. Either muck, or if they were really clever, fire. Bash TV, back in the day, even had a claim that went something like, contrary to popular belief, mutants are human. Don't be fooled by their appearance, though, as the mutant genetic code is about as mixed up as a Fruity Blender orange gel cup. Get our scientific diagram. As of yet, I have not been able to find any copies or evidence of this scientific diagram, whatever that is. There is still potential as well that J.K. Styles was just lying the whole time, and he was killing the smart ones. Looking back, he's definitely the type of sick freak to do that. Anything for the ratings. Whatever the case, mutants back then clearly weren't of the same intellect as the mutants here. The smartest I could see a mutant being back in the day were maybe the authorities' mutants, forcefully augmented and controlled with nanites injected into them by authority scientists, making the mutants scream and rage the entire time they're attacking you until you put them down. Tough little freaks. Even if I do feel a little sorry for them. There wasn't really much choice. I wonder if any intelligent ones escaped the experiments and managed to get out and establish themselves. Regardless of how it happened or the why, mutants are changing. They're growing smarter. I was around 30 years ago. After the arcs came down, I was expected to get to work. I remember fighting off mutant swarms that got too close to a settlement, always snarling and swiping at you with jagged metal like feral beasts. Sometimes you'd get a big one with a tentacle for an arm. Pretty sure we called them krakens. Weapons back then, they were cobbled together. The nice ones were held together with torn cloth. But now, different story. It's important to keep in mind that this isn't the only intelligent clan of mutants. Ranger Walker came across another clan of mutants who worshipped the Archist who fought the Authority 30 years ago, Nicholas Rain, based on his proficiency as a warrior against mutants back then. If this is true, it proves that the mutants aren't just forming concepts of religion. More importantly, they're passing down stories of their tribal history through the years, although nobody really knows how old a mutant can get. Not really a question you ask them when they're running at you howling. But these mutants, they're not just speaking their language, they're speaking ours. One of them ran at me screaming, "Does it bleed?" Which I admit, I found pretty unnerving. Initially, I just looked at it as clearing out an infestation of mutated pests, but now, their intelligence has been made clear to me. They clearly understand that I am trespassing in their home, and they respond as such. Even going to the point where they lay traps and ambushes. The smaller ones will try to encircle you and take quick swipes while backing away, while the larger ones tend to be wearing whatever armor they can find, wielding a large club. Some of them even call it their mutant hammer. But all of this honestly pales in comparison to the crusher I came across in these sewers. For the first time in my career as a ranger, I decided not to finish the job. I don't know if I'm going to regret this, An intelligent crusher is no small thing. I've heard that some can get too smart and wander away. But this? The bastard isn't just smart. He's singing. He's making his own songs, lyrics and all. It's not just a sign of intelligence, it's a sign of culture. So I refuse the kill. That swamp dweller, Bucky, seemed surprised that I backed out without killing the Crusher. To be honest, so was I. It wasn't even fear for my life that drove me away. I had just come face to face with a realization. The mutants are getting much, much smarter than they're being given credit for. That Crusher even named itself Ruckus. They knew what a name is. Not a sound, not a title, a name. Walker might be capable of exterminating a mutant culture. But I want to take a different path. I want to know if mutants can get even smarter. I want to see if they can develop past the war culture. Imagine a mutant trade town. Those dipshit river hogs, though, they're another story. Bunch of swamp hicks. They're also involved with the mutants, except the hogs are trying to use them as forced labor, like trained monkeys they work to death or kill for fun. Or, given that it's the hogs, they... Honestly, I don't really want to detail the other activities they may be doing with the mutants. Let's just say that there's a publication being circulated in the wasteland called Muty Booty, and leave it at that. According to one of their data pads, however, they had mutants more intelligent than the others escape the jailer. Good. Glad the mutants got away from the damn swamp filth. However, is this one group of mutants the source of intelligent mutants across the area? Personally, I doubt it. As another data pad from a different hog details how, and I quote, nobody likes those jibber-jabbering shit stains. End quote. This means mutants were developing their own language before or in tandem with this group escaping. As this datapad comes from someone with knowledge of the clans from 30 years ago, namely the Jackals and the Scorchers, which means they're almost definitely an old hog. Not that all of this means much with the river hogs anyhow. Probably just worried about how the mutants are their intellectual peers at this point. None of this even touches on how the Authority, after 30 years, is still experimenting on the mutants, apparently ignoring how their previous failures led to them losing an entire research facility full of critical data that was instrumental in Rain's resistance of the Authority. Yet here they are, repeating the exact same patterns. And of course it's one of Kvasir's old apprentices who is experimenting on them. Why the hell do we have to clean up this old dog's messes all the time? However, if Kvasir's replacement is to be believed, they've developed a way to prevent the mutants from rebelling against them this time, calling it a neural inhibitor. I've come across these mutants a few times, armed with Authority armor and helmets blocking their eyes. Things are pretty bulletproof, I'll give them that. One key difference, though, the Authority keeps their mutants mentally deficient on purpose, forcing them feral so they're easier to control. Not only are the Authority still forcing mutants into warfare, now they're growing purposefully brain-dead mutants mutants that they can throw into the meat grinder without cause or concern. Not only are they kidnapping archists for raw material to grow these mutants, they're even using their own soldiers and assistants who die in the experiments. They've also developed what they describe as a Titan class, saying it should be over 8 meters in height. So far, the only Rangers I know who have come across a mutant of this size are Rangers Walker and Jersey, although Jersey had to lose his life in order to take his down. The potential damage these mutants could cause if the Authority loses control of them post-cross would be catastrophic to the trade towns in the wasteland. It'd make the old mutant raids look like a guided tour. Our only available course of action with any Authority-augmented mutants, regardless of where they are found, is to take them down with extreme prejudice. There is no turning them on the Authority. There's nothing there to turn. In case I haven't made it clear, the mutants have gone from living in caves, using fire, and throwing shit and mud, to speaking not just their own language, but also ours, creating tools rather than finding them, laying down group tactics to defend their nests, and developing belief systems in 30 years. In less than a single human lifetime. Their intelligence has evolved from being feral tribal groups of snarling creatures to developing an intelligence that is rapidly approaching ours. Originally, I stated that the Immortal Shrouded were our greatest threat, but perhaps our greatest threat lies below us. End of Observation Report 002. Next subject will be the River Hogs.